Hey guys, what is going on? And welcome back to a TAT pod. I'm joined once again by Mahmood. What you saying, mate? You good?
I've been good. I've been good. I've been good. Thank you.
Good, mate. And Shigz, how you doing, mate? Just want to quickly unmute. Oh, Shigz? Right. I don't know if Shigz can hear us, but he's trying to sort himself out. But guys, we are back live to discuss Liverpool's 2-1 defeat yesterday to Brighton away from home in the FA Cup, which now means we unfortunately do not have a domestic trophy that we can go for, which is very disappointing considering, we went for absolutely everything that was available last season, won two of them. Um, and now we're barely into the new year and we have nothing apart from big ears. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear. I can hear.
Yeah, I don't know what. Sorry, guys. There's some technical difficulties. I don't know why Shiggs can't hear me. But Mahmood, coming to you, mate. Me and you were both at the game yesterday. Yeah, just your general thoughts, mate, on just how you thought it unfolded. Like the start, the team selection. Just yeah, did you? Because we were just speaking off air. We actually felt a bit, positive about it, didn't we? But it just didn't happen.
No, I mean, if you contrast it back to the last Brighton game, I thought it was a much better performance overall. I mean, we didn't get, we weren't constantly making individual errors. The pressing was much better, and the defense was much better also. But it was a case of it was just like it was a subpar game from us in the sense that Brighton, I guess, were the better team overall, and they deserved to win. But the performance as a whole for us was an improvement from our last few games. That's the only reason why, because the last few weeks when I've been watching Liverpool, it's been pretty poor. Whereas today it was a bit more. It felt a bit more competitive. At least we were in the game, if that makes sense, compared to our last few games, especially the one against Brighton. We lost 3-0. So I was satisfied in the sense that I was there was improvements, but at the same time, I can't say we were unlucky to lose or anything like that. We still, if Brian got their goal, and perhaps overall we could still say they deserve to win. At the end of the day, Brian deserved to win the game.
I think I agree with that. I think it's one of those games where it could have gone either way. We had a couple of chances, not too many. I think the best chance we probably had was the Mo Salah one. I've not watched it back. I'm not going to watch any of it back. So this is all from memory. Um, yeah, from being there, the best chance that it seemed like we had apart from the goal was the Mo Salah one. Um, just not at it, is he, Shigs? And I'm sure we're going to get into that because I know you've been saying it for a long time. To be fair, even last season, I don't think you was too happy with him extending. But yeah, just gonna ask you the same thing, mate. Really, just general thoughts on the game before we delve into it, really, into detail.
For me, it shows. Unfortunately, it shows how far the team has gone downhill. Like in terms of our midfield and in terms of just the whole mentality of a team. Like it just there's no. They look like they've been playing together for a couple of weeks, even though they've been training for how many. They look like the midfield in the last. I would say the game against Wolves and this game has looked the most fluid midfield we've had all season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can that be for Fabinho? Oh my God, he's like I've said it so many times. The guy looks like he's running through treacle. Like every time he gets the ball, like there was, the incident before he gave the foul away and got a yellow card. Did you see his touch?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they don't know how to play football. Henderson and Fabinho should be the ones coming off in the game, not the ones coming on. And
absolutely spot
on. The thing about it as well, and I don't know if you lot saw the same thing, is as soon as Keita and Besetic came off, the game changed. The game changed. Brighton's just like we went 10 yards back. Brighton were just on us.
Forgive me for laughing, Sheiks. I've just had a deja vu moment. We said the same thing last season. Do you remember we're 3-1 up? Naby goes off with an injury. And people, listen to me, Sheiks. People think I'm pushing this Naby agenda. I'm not. Look, do I think Naby's been absolutely incredible when he's played this season? But... No, he hasn't. But what I know and what you know and what I think everybody knows is he's in the top three, like that we have right now. It's him, Bajcetic, and Thiago. That's how it is. And you're right. As soon as Dumb and Dumber came on yesterday, that was it. For me, I was like, okay, a replay is the best we can hope for now. And we didn't get that because guess what? Joe Gomez, again, like we said off air, Shigz. This is the Anfield Talk Pod, so I'm not going to say some of the memes that have been going around about him, but you can all guess what they were. Like, this guy was shaking his backside.
Joe Gomez must hate the Amex Arena. He must hate that place.
Oh.
You got Danny Welbeck scoring worldies against you the week before, and my man said, "Yeah, I'll see your flick over, and I'll raise your volley." What?
Mitoma is absolutely unbelievable. I'm not excusing what Joe Gomez did, by the way, but Mitoma, he's not going to be there for long. I tell you that much.
But, as soon as the ball came over to him, I said, "Joe, don't sell yourself, Joe. Don't sell yourself."
What was you going to say, Mohamud?
I was going to say, in fairness to Mitoma, I mean, in fairness to Gomez, that goal was actually incredible. I mean, like
it was incredible.
I had to say, when I watched the goal, when I watched the shot again, like in fairness, like even I was shocked that Mitoma decided to fake it and then go for the goal. Like that took incredible. Like I get as a defender, you know, you have to anticipate things better. But like I guess it's the way Gomez fell because he fell down two hands down on the floor. That
you know what
that
it
makes
is. You know what
it was hard. It was hard.
Nah, bro, you've seen it happen before, bro. You see someone flip the ball over your head before. Wouldn't you think to yourself, nah, let me just, if he shoots and it goes past me, listen, that's it. But yeah. I'm not going to give him the opportunity to even do that. You know when they say, be on his touch? It wasn't even that, and it's just like...
it's definitely error. I know Gomez 2 years in the first time. I don't know if you guys remember the Leeds game where we lost at home. He made the back pass error. The Nottingham Forest game where their number 9 striker scored. He made the error for that game also. So for all of our systemic issues and our and the intensity and the other deep fundamental issues, individual errors are costing us once again. And
big time.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Mohamud.
Yeah.
You know what it is as well. Like with the whole. I don't understand why he took off Trent as well. Like this comes to a bigger thing in terms of it's not just that we're playing bad. The management are making bad decisions. Like it's different if you can say, okay, right, we didn't play well. This person kind of put us in a bad spot, or we weren't able to make a change in order to stop that guy getting down the side because our defense was bad. Even when we're making the changes to bring on reinforcements, it's making the game go south. I don't understand that. That's where like
I agree with you. With the Milner substitution, I was confused there because I thought even though we saw all the clips of perhaps Trent getting beaten, I thought Trent actually dealt with Mitoma like reasonably well because if you guys noticed, often when Mitoma was getting past Trent, it was way on the side of the pitch, it was way by the line anyway. It wasn't a situation where Mitoma was getting close to our box by being Trent. Trent kept him wide. And that was the most important thing. He kept him wide, and even if he got past him, he knew there was place to cover him. So I think Trent did his job. Trent did his comedy well. Whereas when Milner came on, it was constantly just runs in behind that and penetrate. And also Milner's positioning was completely off the whole game. Also, I don't know. Perhaps if he's
he was so tight to Canate. I don't know why.
Yeah, and he was ahead of Mitoma. It was then his position. So I mean. We can talk about again the fundamental issues, but again in-game decisions from the manager are costing us.
The thing I will say about the subs, and look, I agree with both of you. I was absolutely livid when I saw Trent was coming off, and I thought surely not. And then obviously brings Fabinho and Hendo on, and Milner and Jones, and none of those guys, in my opinion, are good enough for this team. And every time Fabinho comes on the pitch, he kills us.
Can you name me one thing that Jones done when he came on? Can you name
you know what, though, Shigz, right? I know Jones ain't everyone's cup of tea, and a lot of people don't rate him. But listen, he's the last I'm going to come to out of those guys, mate. That's our captain that's won all of these trophies. That's Fabinho, who, in my opinion, was the best DM in the world. That's James Milner, who's been doing this. I know, look, he's a pensioner now, but it's not really his fault that we are still having to rely on him. That's another conversation. But Curtis Jones ain't great, let's be real. But realistically, we said this so many times. He should have had a loan spell by now. When he came in, and he played that season when he scored the goal against Everton in the cup, which is the one everyone always obviously goes on about. And then he had another season. That's when he should have gone out on loan, because like we obviously rested on our laurels. We signed Thiago and we thought, oh, you add Thiago into these midfielders, we're going to be fine. Obviously, that's not happened. And now all of a sudden we've got Curtis Jones, who's wasted 2 years of his career when he could have gone to the Championship like Harvey Elliott did, or gone to a Brighton, or got somewhere like Southampton. Like those teams would be good for him. But instead, like you say, we're bringing him on to make an impact in games, not to come on and see a game out. Curtis Jones is coming on to make an impact. Like, I didn't expect him to do anything. So that's why I'm not mad at Curtis Jones. I'm mad at the other guys because I expect more from them. If you know what I mean, I'm not defending Curtis Jones because it's not good enough.
Yeah, I was going to say on the Curtis Jones point, like for me, I'm also not the biggest fan of Curtis Jones, but the guy is 22 years old, and also the very fact that we have this expectation of a 22-year-old having to change the game for us should be a damning indictment already on the state of our squad. We shouldn't be relying on a 22-year-old midfielder who's barely had any consistent experience for us to be having to change the game for us. That very itself.
That bench was abysmal yesterday.
It reveals more about the state of our squad.
Wait, like okay, Chamberlain, because
don't even
to come in to bring him on to save the game, bro.
To be fair though, why has he not been given a chance?
Where's Carvalho, bro?
He's injured. To be fair, I think he's got a knock.
He's injured.
Yeah, he's carrying a knock. Yeah.
Why is it? Yeah, why is it? Whenever we buy players, bro, they're always out injured. Like we never get a consistent run of our players.
This guy played like 30 games for Fulham last season as well, maybe even more, and then he comes in and just injured. But now we kind of open up a can of worms. So let's go back, because there was one, like the only positive of the game, and it was the goal. And Shigz, who played in Mo Salah, mate? Naby. And then
I'm not sure. Was it Keita that played that ball?
It was, right. The only centre mid apart from Thiago who's capable of playing a forward pass.
Yeah.
And then obviously Harvey, who has been under scrutiny as well this season. By the way, statistic alert, Harvey Elliott has scored the most goals from any teenager in the country this season across all competitions, 5 goals. Again, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Everyone's got a different opinion on Harvey. Kind of seems to divide the fan base.
I can't hate on the guy, bro, because he's doing
I rate him. I think
doing.
Exactly. And I've always rated the kid. I've always backed him. You know, again, it's same as what Mohamud says. We shouldn't be relying on kids to get us out of this mess. I mean, you got Stefan, who we'll get onto in a bit. Absolutely outstanding talent. But this is the problem, where we are relying on these youngsters now, which is
exactly on the young players point. I mean, all of our youngsters in our squad. These are players at the end of the day are raw. Like they might have the technical ability, they might have the skill set, they might have the right profile, but they're still raw players who have to be eased in to the squad. No, there's very few generational talents that can enter a senior squad that's competing for trophies and hit the ground like that. Most young players have to be eased in slowly for them to probably succeed. You look at Man City and all their youngsters. You look at Phil Foden. Phil Foden is about 21, 22 years old. He's probably one of the best talents in the country, and yet he never gets a consistent game time for Man City. He's always being rotated out. When he was first breaking on 2018, 2019, he was being eased in also, and that's because City's squad was full of quality. That they didn't have to run on a 20-year-old to save their season. Whereas with us, we're having to rely on different players because the current players are not performing. Therefore, the other players who perhaps can offer something are so young that they're still raw, and they themselves could be exposed, or the development could be rushed, and they can't properly be eased in and assimilate into the squad properly. You look at I think we'll speak about Vegetage later on, but on Curtis Jones, for example, I don't have an issue with his technical ability. I don't have an issue with his profile, but the thing is, for me, he still looks like such a raw player. I don't know when was the last time. The guy's 22, but I don't know when the last time he got 3 or 4 games in a row he started for us. I don't think he's ever done that for us, where he started 4 or 5 games in a row. And this is a guy that's 22 years old and broke out in 2019, and he's never got consistent game time for us. It's going to hurt his development, of course.
You was just about to say that we're going to talk about Stefan a bit later on. You can go ahead and start that conversation if you want.
Yeah, on Stefan, for example, like he looks like he could be a very, very top player for us, but still, I saw we saw in the Chelsea game, we saw in the Brighton, he's picking up yellow cards. He can still be a bit raw. Be a bit like he's so fixated on being destroyed that sometimes he can rush into tackles, for example, or he can force a pass, or he can like he hasn't got the full experience of the game. He hasn't picked up the pace of top level football yet properly yet. But that's okay. The guy's 18, 19. That's genuinely okay, and I don't mind him making mistakes on the pitch because it's how he's going to end up developing. But what would help his development and what would help us is having an experienced player who would be able to rotate with him, where Vegeta can be eased in slowly and not rushed. Fabinho is 28, 20 years old, one of the best DMs in the planet for a while, one of our best players for a while, and yet his drop off has been so much that he came onto the pitch yesterday and made us worse. Vegetic on a yellow card at 18
Mate, that's
years
one of the
old.
worst cameos I've
Was
ever
that?
seen. That was worse than when Stevie came on against Man United and got sent off. Honestly, I'd rather him have just done that because then at least he would have shown something. Like this guy, honestly, he kills us every time he comes on, or not even every time he steps foot on the pitch right now. He's looking like someone's uncle coming down to Power League. That's what he's looking like. And oh my, we need to just keep playing. But how do you lot say surname? Bachetic?
Yeah, that's how
we just I don't care if he's you're right, Mahmoud, by the way. He's raw, he's still got a long way to go in his development. But there was a comment earlier on. I wouldn't go as far to this depth. So I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your name, bro. Actually, I will. Valchrist. He wants to record Tyler Morton. Again, I wouldn't go that far, but then this I 100% agree with. If they're not going to go for something new, go for it. Sorry, I might have misread it. I thought what you were saying is if the first team players aren't going to perform, then play the youth. That's what I thought you were saying, but I don't think you did.
Why we kept, bro?
Go on.
We've had. Do you know that we bought one midfielder in 4 years?
Yeah.
One. And this is on top of our midfield not being that great. Like, how is that possible? But we've got 6 strikers. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you don't win the battle in the midfield, it doesn't matter how many strikers you got. You're not going to score goals. You're not going to win games. Like, you can't. Keita and Basetic and Thiago, they're a good midfield. But how many games can they play in a row, realistically?
You know what it
2,
is, yeah?
maybe 3?
Last season, I think hoodwinked a lot of us, myself included, probably the owners as well. They thought, you know what? With those midfielders, they just fell short this year. What we're going to do now, listen, Shigz, we're going to try and squeeze one more year out of them. This is not acceptable, by the way, so hear me out. And then the summer after, this is why we're always next summer FC, we're going to go hard. We're going to go for Jude. We're going to go for Nunes. We're going to go for all these other midfielders. So by doing that then gave them the space and time to get the forwards in. Nunes, Diaz obviously came in before, and then Gakpo's just come in. So then they thought, then we'll do the midfielders last. The problem is, Shigz, that the forward wasn't our issue. The only thing we needed to do in the forward line was replace Mane. That is it. And we didn't need to go and get all these other players.
And on the forward point, one of the issues that we have with our attack is that because of how many different attackers we have, it's so hard for us to build any sort of chemistry with the front three. I mean, there was a video on Twitter that someone posted a few days ago, which was a Salah and Mane compilation, where it was just talking about Salah and Mane's combination and their good links with each other. And now we're in a situation where constantly we're becoming a bit like Man City, but worse players, in the sense that we're constantly changing our front three. Like one of the things we were known for, one of the things that we were known for, one of the good things about our team was just having that consistent lineup, that consistent 11, Mane, Firmino, Salah, Ronaldo, Fabinho.
Yeah.
Exactly. We had a consistent 11, and that's what made it so good, because our pressing was on point, our attack was on point. Because the way we play, it's not like City where we have each plays in their position and they have their specific role. Our one depends so much on chemistry, because the attack's got to know when to press, the midfielder's got to know when to anticipate that, the defense everyone's got to be in sync. That's probably the key word, in sync. And because we're constantly changing our 11, we're constantly changing our front three, and also I think we've changed our defense the most times we have ever since Klopp came in. No one's in sync with each other, And then also you have the other fundamental issues we could speak on later. So a team that isn't in sync isn't going to perform to the way Klopp wants them to perform.
No, you know, I tweeted earlier on my personal Twitter. I said that this possession stuff that we're trying to do, we didn't even do it yesterday because Brighton, I think it was even possession. But most of the time now, like since we obviously won leagues or whatever, we've become more possession based. I think that's pretty obvious to say. But we had the players that were able and physical and, you know, good enough to keep the ball, to keep it moving for 90 minutes. We don't anymore. So what I tweeted earlier is I want to go back to that, maybe just for a season or a season and a bit. I don't know. I want to go back to that 17-18 kind of style where, again, I don't know if we're good enough to do this. I don't know if it is a good idea, but you soak the pressure and we pick our moments when to go forward. We counter-attack. We actually see the wingers doing what our wingers used to do. Like, we don't see Salah running down that wing anymore, like, you know, causing problems. We don't see a left-sided player doing what Mane used to do. And I know that's because Lewis and Diogo are injured and we don't really have anyone else that can do that. But I just want to see good attacks again. I want to see us causing problems. We've got the players up front to absolutely obliterate teams, but we are so obsessed with keeping the ball. And our players can't even make a 5-yard pass, apart from Thiago and Bajcetic and Naby. Apart from that, like, honestly, I hate to keep going on about Fabinho and Henderson, but like Shigz says, it wasn't just it was the first touch, it was the movement, it was the pass, everything, reading the game. I mean, Fabinho should have been sent off for what he did. I've seen that clip where he goes through, I can't remember who it was.
I was surprised
he goes through the back of someone's Achilles. He should have been straight red, and it's so shameless, Shigz, but I actually saw Liverpool fans saying that he should have been sent.
I
see Liverpool fans in the Premier League say like, "Can you suspend Fabinho for 3 games?"
But would they have counted? Because it's FA Cup, would they have counted?
Yeah, I don't know, but I was laughing when I saw that. I was like, "This is how bad we are. Our fans are tweeting the FA to get him banned." Like, with
Shigz. He's falling off the cliff. So anyway, look, I'm gonna.
No, just keep going because there's not really like I said to you.
No, I want to talk about one good thing that I saw. That Stefan guy, like, it's a shame that he's so young, but I like the way, for once, when them lot were playing, it didn't look like they were getting bullied. I don't know if does that make sense? They were smaller, but they didn't play like small men. Like, they went into tackles. Even Keita, even though people say he's paper thin and that, the guy was actually putting a foot in. How can Keita, the one we've lambasted all season, be the one that we're saying that is actually giving the fight to the opposition? And the cat. Anyway, but Bajcetic, I like Mo said earlier. There were times where he kind of showed his age in terms of the pass he made and the kind of decisions he made. But he's a youngster. But a lot of the time, there was one time where he just slipped one guy and left him. And he tried to come back again rather than driving forward. And I was like, see, that's there. And we've got to talk about this as well. I know I'm getting all over the place, but why is Gakpo playing up front when Nunes is a guy that plays up front?
Yesterday, I don't think Nunes was ready to play 90 minutes, but I know even without Nunes on the pitch, Gakpo still could have played on the left, Harvey down the right, and Salah up front.
But even then, even when Nunes came on, he had Nunes on the wing.
I do think Nunes is better on the wing, to be fair.
Country. He's playing in a different team, playing him in a position that he's used to playing in.
I just
thought Gakpo had a decent game yesterday, to be fair.
No, I'm not getting on Gakpo. I'm not saying Gakpo had a bad game, but what I'm saying is you could have got even more out of him if you'd paid him in his natural position. Nunes is a bad. Like, how many times did the ball go up to Gakpo? And he's not really that heading on or holding the ball up type of guy. He's a guy that runs in behind. You get Nunes to do that, at least he will hold off the ball and lay it off to somebody. So it's like, the thing that's frustrating with Liverpool is not the fact that we don't have the players to do it or the nous to do it. It's that the manager is hindering the team by not making the right decision. And I know everybody thinks they know better than Klopp, but bro, it's simple. What you're doing is not working. Change it. Don't just go with it. Because what? Henderson and Milner and Curtis came on with like 77 minutes, 75, 15, 20 minutes to go. And you would expect they're fresh legs, so we should be hemming them in. There was none of it. What's his name? McAllister was playing balls through. Lamptey was getting forward. Matoma was running amok in there. We had one shot on target in the whole half. They had 7. I know
Allison had to bail us out as well.
Like at some point, it's not just about okay. I get it, talent and technique and nice, but beating somebody to the ball that's got nothing to do with talent. It's so start to see when Henderson and Fabinho. I'm sorry, I keep coming back to it, but when we have Bajcetic and Kaiton, Thiago, the ball was moving quick. There was one, two, bam, gone. When they came in as ponderous, a slow back, turn around. There was one incident that on the right hand side where the ball came to Henderson and he just didn't look like he had a clue. This is our captain.
One of the positives we could take from yesterday is that I still genuinely believe that Klopp's fundamental principles, his style of play, and his philosophy still works for us. I mean, that can kind of get lost in this idea that because we're performing so well that I don't know, Klopp's 7-season syndrome or Klopp's not working for Klopp. I mean, Klopp's ideas still work. Well, how he wants to play still works, in my opinion. And I think the Chelsea game slightly proved that. I think the Wolves game we were 1-0 slightly proved that. And I think the yesterday game slightly proved it also before substitutions, in the sense that we can still play the way we want to play, but we just don't have the players to do so. In the sense that the application, the intensity isn't there anymore. In the sense that when our senior players are playing like Henderson and Fabinho, they can't execute the way Klopp wants to play. So and also then you have Klopp in a conundrum, and it's just that he can't whether we're like or not. I don't think Klopp's going to keep playing the youngsters. He's not going to keep playing Harvey Elliott down the wing when Diaz or Jota come back. He's not going to consistently play Bajcetic in midfield. Also, he's going to end up relying on Fabinho in the big games. I don't think Bajcetic is going to start in the first leg against Real Madrid. So for me, the positive is that we can
start him.
You reckon he'll start him?
I'd start him.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I'm done with these guys. I'm sorry. I'm throwing my hat.
I mean,
I don't want to go down this road because this is a whole different story. But the amount of money I have wasted, not even spent, wasted seeing these bums this season and last season. I'm just done with them. They've been amazing. They've been incredible. They've been Liverpool greats. They've been legends. We'll always remember them. 100%. Jordan Henderson is a Liverpool legend. Fabinho is a Liverpool legend. Let's not ever get that twisted.
We telling me, man. Cheers, mate.
Thanks for the memories, but you've got to go. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Henderson will sign a new deal. We'll probably look to try and recruit some money from Fabinho. I'm done with them, Mo. Shigz, I would start Stefan against Real Madrid. He's earned that spot. He has. No one can tell me he hasn't.
I can't argue with that, but at the same time, it's Madrid. They got Modric.
What's Fabinho going to do against Tchouaméni, bro?
But I'm saying, bro, listen, it's a young
Camavinga and Valverde, bro. That's disgusting.
If anyone saw the Cancelo news earlier today, I mean, that should be further demonstration of
best fullback in the country.
The importance of refreshing a team. Like this is Jacques Cancelo, who perhaps his quality has dropped off. His performances are not as well. And then he doesn't want he's not getting game time, so he ends up leaving.
Apparently he's squared up to Pep though.
What?
That's what I read.
Okay, but yeah,
that's
so
probably the reason though, because of what you're saying. Yeah, that's probably why he did it. Yeah.
Did he? Is that just rumor, or did he actually do that?
Just rumors. Yeah, go on, Mo. Finish it.
Just say.
No worries. Whatever. I mean, whatever the actual final reason as to why he's left, whatever happened. But the fact is that this is a player whose quality has dropped off, and is now players leaving Manchester City when he's no longer needed. You look at if anyone remembers the team that lost to City in 2-1 in 2019 in that 18-19 season, you had the likes of Walker, Otamendi, Laporte, Fernandinho, David Silva, Mane, Aguero, Sterling, and all of them have left. That's about 8-9 outfield players who won that Premier League in 2019 who are no longer at the club. That's what you call a refresh. These were all quality players. These are all world-class players who perhaps maybe could still compete, but they've all left because it's called a refresh.
What do you put it down to, though, Mo? Do you think it's Klopp wants these players, or do you think it's the fact that he knows he's not?
I genuinely think it's a bit of both because I get the point, the clear point about the lack of reinvestment, the lack of transfer window. Yeah, but at the same time, this is the same club who before any of this happened, by the way, in the summer told Sky Sports that we have the best 4 centre backs in the league, we have the best midfielders in the league, and we have the best attackers in the league. He said that clearly. So a part of me genuinely.
Klopp
Yeah,
said that.
he said in the summer that we have the best centre backs, the best midfielders, and the best attackers in the league. So,
Life,
exactly.
We're mid-table, man.
So a part of me genuinely believes that Klopp felt these players could still compete. Klopp still trusts these players. Klopp has a bit of loyalty to these players. He has that bit of sentimentality. He thinks that if it doesn't work, if it's not working, don't fix it. He doesn't. Perhaps, and I don't want to compare it to his Dortmund days, but because the Dortmund situation was a bit more complex. But it was Dortmund where consistently he wouldn't find solutions when things are going well. It would always be when things are very bad. That's when we have to find solutions. Whereas with Pep, while he's on top, this guy wanted. Cancelo was a Premier League winning fullback, one of the best fullbacks in the league last season, and he's leaving 5 months into the new season. That's what you call ruthlessness. That's what you call. That's what you call.
He let Mane go. To be fair, Mane was his favourite player.
Mane wanted to leave. Mane wanted to leave, and also number two. Also, Mane wanted to leave, number one, and also a part of me generally thinks that it was a win-win for both situations because before Mane went to that centre forward role, he was declining a little bit on the left wing. He like I don't know if people remember before Mane went to striker.
Yeah, he was stinking up the place, man.
Exactly. Mane wasn't as good as he used to be. Unfortunately, that's the reality. So it was a win-win situation where Mane was actively playing how he was declining, and also he wanted to leave.
Still better than what we have.
And he had 1 year left on his contract. So it was a win-win. It was a win-win for all parties, in my opinion.
It'd have been better than Mo Salah this season. Anyway, that's a different story. Shigz, you want to get on to Mo Salah because I know you're itching.
Bro, listen. You know when people say I didn't want to be right, but I said this would happen. I knew like you're not getting 300 grand a week, bro. You're not getting that. The most you're getting is 270. If you don't like it,
350 in the end.
I don't know. It was 300 more. At least 300.
I think it's 350. You know,
even worse. Well, not even worse. But look, you're not worth that P, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, even when you're banging in goals and stuff like that, there are times when you go missing. There are times. Like, you can't. It's a top way in the end because at the end of the day, no one is challenging the established order. There's no one that can take him out because who else do you put there? And again, this goes back to the whole management thing because look, how have we come to this situation where we're in a situation where, like you said, Mo, we're bringing on a kid, Jones, to try and save the game. I keep saying it. We haven't bought a midfielder in 4 years. Like
I laugh every time someone says that. You know,
that's not just a management.
That's because we have Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's the most dynamic player you can have, and you can't buy his dynamic on the market.
Okay, but then he's
exactly. That's the more proof of Klopp believing.
Far from me to say it, but at the end of the day, if that's the case, then you shouldn't be complaining. Klopp shouldn't be saying all this. Well, we had to try and find this. You said that we have all these players. So if we have all these players, why are they not living up to or playing to the potential that you said they have? What's going wrong?
On the Salah point, I'll talk about the Salah point later. But on the point you just mentioned about Klopp, I guess Klopp doesn't want to resort to a situation where perhaps he's sounding like Conte every week, where he's blaming everyone else by himself, and he doesn't want his words to get twisted. He wants to remain like kind of. He wants to remain in a situation where he wants to take full accountability and responsibility. But then he has to accept that if he continues to do that, it's going to be his legacy and questions about him that's going to be asked about. Well, with Conte, one of the ways Conte, I feel like kind of he deflects from any responsibility that he takes is that every press conference he's talking about how Spurs won't be buying anybody, or he needs new signing and Spurs won't do, etc. And he's blaming everybody himself. Whereas Klopp, because he refuses to blame anybody but himself, he keeps blaming himself. He keeps saying that he needs to find solutions. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. It's his job, etc. It's his legacy and the way people speak about him outside of Liverpool that's going to be affected. So he's gonna have to take the heat. But just quickly on the Salah point you mentioned. One of the reasons why I kind of don't want to criticize Salah is simply because players like Salah, they have to be in systems and they have to be in the right conditions to thrive. I mean, Salah still scored 17 goals this season for us. He still has 24 goals in this for us. I mean, the numbers are still slightly there, but the reasons why I don't think his performances have lived up to perhaps a new contract would have warranted is that we're currently in a situation where our system has collapsed. The way we're playing is not the same as the way we play. The system that Salah thrived on, it doesn't exist anymore. So I think it's unfair to expect that when 10 other players aren't playing as well as they used to expect the one player that just signed a new contract to be performing as well as you
I'm
can.
sorry, if you earn the most money, the most weight falls on your shoulders. That's just the way it goes. Like I get it, but at the end of the day, you said you said that you deserve this amount of money. Okay, fair enough. Whether we agree or disagree with it, you've got it. Now you have to continue to deliver. It never stops. That's the game.
The thing is, I actually accept it, but it comes to a situation where, okay, when we analyze it properly, why do we actually think Salah isn't performing to the way he was performing last season? And I put that down to the fact the system has collapsed. The jobs of managers, the jobs of these coaches are to limit the players' flaws and to put them in situations and conditions that they can thrive in. And the conditions as the system that Salah can thrive in doesn't exist anymore because our system has collapsed. You have Salah play. Salah has this season. Salah has less touches in the box. He's generating less XG.
Mo, I 100% get what you're saying, but there's that chance that Salah had yesterday. Salah scores that any other season.
Exactly. Maybe he does, but think about it like this. That was his only chance of the whole game.
That is true.
I can't. Exactly, and this was the same. I mean, I think people kind of get lost. Last season, it wasn't. Salah missed quite a few. Yeah, Salah consistently every season actually has quite a lot of big BCMs, big chances missed. I mean, Salah's someone that kind of misses a lot of big chances every season. He's not. I mean, remember the Man City game where he missed that 1v1, the exact same 1v1. Minutes later, he gets the same 1v1, he scores it. Salah's always been a player that we call him ruthless, but he actually statistically he isn't ruthless. He actually misses quite a lot of big chances. And yesterday that was his only chance of the game. And yes, he missed that. But the fact that this is our best finisher, our best goal scorer ever in the last 5 years, and somehow he's only got that one chance the whole game. Salah, less touches,
no, that's true.
Let's take on.
I think you're right. I think you've got to look at both aspects, and 100%, no one can take away from what Salah's done. He's been the most clinical forward we've ever seen at Liverpool. And I see both sides to it. Obviously, I see the chance he had just there. I think, oh, Salah, come on, man. You're better than that kind of thing. But then on the flip side, I do see Shigz's point. How old is he now? 30? Signed a new deal on all that money. That I'm not saying I wanted us to offload him, but if we were going to, last season's when we would have got the most money for sure. So it's kind of like if we needed to rebuild, maybe the option was there to just try and get as much as they could offer him from PSG or a team like that. But I think you're right, Mo. I think both sides are right. I want more from Mo Salah. I demand more from Mo Salah because, as Shigz says, when you're on that amount of money, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. You have to show more. You have to be the one that turns up. And I get your point about the team setup and how we're playing, but Darwin Núñez has still looked very dangerous this season. And I don't care what anyone tells me about his finishing or anything like that. That's another conversation. But in terms of
I was gonna say, I'll just quickly on the Núñez one, like genuinely, like one of the most important things, one of the most positive of Núñez is that he keeps generating these chances, and that's
what I'm saying. And so Salah should still be doing that as well. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you have Salah, but then you look at Salah, and I kind of feel sorry for him in the sense that he's kept wide so much. I don't know. There's a good graphic that perhaps maybe you guys have seen on Twitter where his heat map progressively has been wider. And so that's why I keep putting down to a systemic issue. If we're playing a way where Salah's being forced out wide, then why should we still expect him to be scoring 30 goals a season? Why? How can we demand that of a player who's basically playing touchline? Do we expect Riyad Mahrez to play so wide for 30 goals a season? We can't.
No. I agree with that.
Perhaps the only thing we can criticize Salah is that perhaps he doesn't have that explosiveness, that little dynamic where perhaps he would get the ball out wide and he'd run inside and you'd be perhaps magical, that kind of thing. But I don't really blame for not trying that anymore when we're playing the way we're playing. But yeah, going on the Nunes.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, Nunes, I don't care what people tell me about his shooting and all of that stuff. He does cause problems, and he's still playing in that same team as Salah. So again, I don't know what's happening there. But Shigz, I just want to touch on one more main topic, really, before we sort of go on to what happens next. Jurgen Klopp confirmed after the game yesterday, mate, that Liverpool will not make any more signings this January window. So, hey, look on the plus side, mate. I don't need you guys to go back on a stream tomorrow night at 11 p.m. So there's that. Second of all, this is on our own heads now, isn't it? If we finish 10th, 11th, 12th, 30th.
Well, listen, this is the thing. This is the thing. A man saw how Fabinho and Henderson were playing and said we still are not gonna buy anyone else. Like, okay, even though we're gonna get Diaz, Jota, Firmino back, yeah, we're gonna get those 3 players back.
Arthur Melo as well, mate. I'm being serious as well, by the way. I know Shigz is laughing, but I'm being serious. Arthur Melo's coming back.
And Arthur Melo's coming back. Who in that midfield? Yeah, I'm gonna paint a picture for you. We're playing. I don't know. We're playing United at home. Yeah. Who for the current crop of midfielders is gonna help us win that game? I want you to pick your midfield. Stefan, who else?
Stefan, Thiago, Naby, straightforward for me.
You're gonna go with those 3, yeah?
Yeah, so every game from now to the end of the season.
You can't play them, bro. Listen, Naby will get an injury from a blade of grass cutting his shin. That's
I'm putting. I don't care. I'm shameless. I'll put Curtis Jones in. I don't care.
I can't do that, guy.
I can't watch Fabinho.
That guy don't know what type of a midfielder he is.
Neither does Henderson. Neither does Henderson. So where do we go from here, Shigz? Where do we go from here? I don't care. Anyone but those 2. I'm sorry. I've washed my hands of both of them. I'm not. I don't want to watch them play again. I'm sorry. This might be reactionary, but I'm finished.
That's our captain, bro. You're saying you don't want to see the captain on the field.
Peter Mertesacker was the Arsenal captain until he was about 40, mate. It happens. Like, just because you're the captain doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah, but what happens then? Will he still do interviews and shit?
Probably, yeah. They'll keep him around, cheerleader kind of thing. But mate, even the most positive, like, we have some admins and some people at TT that absolutely adore Jordan Henderson, and rightfully so, by the way. I always have to make that clear. We love him. He is our captain. But from a player perspective, from his ability in the year 2023, we signed him in 2011, by the way. I remember I was in year 9, I think. I think I was in year 9. I'm 25 now. Yeah, he was 2011. He came in under King Kenny.
Whoa, he's been there 12 years.
Well, it could be 2012. I think it was it January 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember when I heard that side. And
let me check this. I believe it was January 2012.
But listen, the guy, the captain, at the end of the day, they're not going to do nothing because I've got to jump off. But they're not going to do nothing. This is going to be a bumpy road, yeah.
Oh no, sorry, it was the summer of 2011. Yeah, I was right the first time.
Just know, yeah. It pains me to say this, but I'm going to be real honest. Yeah, if you go into games not expected to win, it's not going to hurt as much. I'm telling you this now. This everyone keeps saying that we've got a good chance against Madrid and that we're gonna. I'm like, okay, look, I'm glad that you have some sort of feeling that we can do this, but I'm just saying if Joe Gomez is playing like he played against Brighton, we've got no hope.
This is the Jordan Henderson and
Fabinho play the way they play, then we have no hope.
On the Gomez thing, right? We've all been sat here this season saying how bad Virgil's been, whatever, but Come on, it's light and day still, isn't it, between those two?
Nah, bro.
Nah,
I
it
saw
is. It is.
something.
It
What,
is.
what
It
game
is.
was it that I saw? What game was it that he was injured? That he got injured in?
Virgil.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I can't remember. I can't remember from the top of my head.
Bro, that guy looks like maybe it was because of the
Oh,
injury.
was it Wolves when he was chasing back Adama Traore?
Ah,
Wasn't it? Yeah. Wait, was it Adama?
was he injured at that time?
I don't know. That might have been what did the injury, but
What
I don't care what anyone says to me, right? Virgil is still 1,000,000% our best centre back, easily.
I mean, like one of the things about Virgil is that, I mean, perhaps the other defenders. You look at Matip for Brighton. Remember the first goal Brighton scored in the 3-0 loss.
When he gave someone a birthday present.
Yeah, you look at Gomez, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, and today, and he's made a few other errors too. A few other errors also. Whereas with Van Dijk, perhaps other than the Fulham chance where the Fulham penalty at the beginning of the season, he doesn't really make individual errors like that. Van Dijk doesn't pick up yellow cards like that either. He's not someone that's a net negative. Perhaps we can say that perhaps his awareness these days, or perhaps his positioning, perhaps that he's a bit too passive. Those are fair criticisms of Virgil or Van Dijk, but he isn't somebody that's a net negative. Gomez and Matip are performing like players who are net negative to the team, who are actively making us worse. Whereas with Van Dijk, I never get that feeling with Van Dijk, and so hopefully when he comes back, hopefully if he comes back into Real Madrid and Konate,
when he's back.
We don't know. Klopp says a few weeks, so we'll see what that means. That could mean months for a winner, but
I've got to go. But
that's no problem, mate.
When's our next match?
Saturday, Wolves, 3 p.m. So
away.
Long day, innit? Long day. But Shigz, thank you for jumping on, mate.
At least you've got a week. At least you've got a week.
Yeah.
Listen, enjoy your week whilst you come, mate.
Cheers, bro. Take care. Nice meeting you, Mo.
Great for jumping on, mate. Thank you, Shigz. Mo, we're just going to finish things up, mate, quickly. We're not going to be too much longer, guys. I know there's not been too many in the chat tonight. But yeah, if you are still here, please smash the like button and subscribe. We are going to try and get these streams out on the same day as the game, because that's, I think, when a lot of people will be here in the chat. But obviously, when we're both at games, it's kind of hard. But I just wanted to finish things off, mate, by asking yourself, literally being realistic now. And I know we've had a laugh about how bad we are, and I think that's probably the best way to deal with it, because if you don't laugh, you cry, kind of thing. But honestly, mate, what is your realistic expectation for the rest of the season? Providing Klopp has confirmed we're not going to make any more signings, are you even thinking that we have a chance of getting top 4 now? Do you see us having a chance against Real Madrid? We've not got any other trophy to play for, so.
Well, I mean, I'll say 2 points on the Real Madrid game. The reason why I still think we have a chance of being was that I've been watching Real Madrid games also, and I've been seeing some of the issues they suffer also, and it looks like they're suffering similar issues. They've got loads of injuries. They're playing Camavinga left back, Nacho right back. They've got midfield issues, and also, surprisingly, they're suffering from a lack of intensity also, a lack of application also. Modric has been dropped recently because he's performing to his standards. Cruz hasn't been the same player. It's only really been Vinicius and Benzema who have perhaps continued the same levels that they've had from last year. So it's two teams that are struggling, and so it could provide for a good game. But I think we can beat Real Madrid. But at the same time, I'm still wary of the individual quality they have, in the sense that what Vinicius can do to us in a flash, what Benzema could do to us in a flash, and perhaps we don't really have that at the moment. And this is that yes, Nunes might generate a few chances, but do I trust that he's going to score every? Do I trust that Nunes might be decisive in that single moment where he has that 1-on-1? Is he going to score it? I don't think so. Whereas with Benzema and Vinicius, they probably will end up scoring that. So it'd be a good game. Do I think we can read them? Yes. Whether we will or not, we'll have to wait and see. On the what I expect from the rest of the season, I still see improvements week in, week out from the horror display at Brighton and what we were seeing earlier on in the season. There's still tangible improvements I'm seeing. So my hope is that somehow we win a game, we win it convincingly, also not scrappy game like yesterday. We win it convincingly, and that can provide a sense of that can give us momentum. The same way 2 years ago when we were struggling, we were 8th place, 10, 11 points behind top 4. We got momentum. We had worse players at the time. Wijnaldum was performing as well. We had Nat Phillips and Reece Williams at centre back, and Trent and Robertson. They weren't amazing either, but we got momentum, and we kept winning. We find when 10 games unbeaten. If we can find momentum, I genuinely believe there's still a chance at top four, because United, as good as they are at the moment, Spurs Spurs haven't been really good that recently. Chelsea are also struggling. Also, there's still a gap. And Newcastle, yes, they're third place, but they're struggling to score goals. They have their flaws. Also. Each team has their flaws, and United will eventually drop off. Also, United are not going to keep winning every single game. So my hope is that we start to close the gap now, and when the time comes to be consistent, we be consistent. So I'll be a bit ambiguous again. Do I think we can get top four? I genuinely believe we can get top four, because I've seen it from this team before. I saw in 2021 where it looked. I felt like we were worse a little bit, in the sense that perhaps the team had application intensity, but the quality wasn't there. This time it's the opposite, but this time is the opposite. Is that what we have the quality players, the Salah, etc. We're not suffering a wide scale injury crisis. But all we need is that one game to win convincingly, similar to 2 years ago, and we go on the winning streak and we get to 4. So hopefully we'll see.
You know what? I do kind of agree with what you're saying.
And I mean, it's despair right now. Like, there isn't a reason as to why we should be confident we're going to get to 4. There isn't a single reason why. The same way a few years ago, there wasn't a single reason we get to 4. I'm just trying to be a bit logical and see that perhaps there is a window. Like, I don't expect every team to be consistent either. Like, we're suffering a clear dip, but if people actually cast their minds back, before the World Cup, we won like 4 games in a row before we broke up. Then we won 2 games afterwards. They weren't all convincing games, but we can get over the line in games. We just have to be able to do that. Find that little bit of grit that we had a few years back, and we'll see what happens.
I agree. Again, it's going to be very, very difficult. We need to stress that, but I think you've already alluded to that. But it's not impossible, and I'm just looking at the table now. We've got a game in hand over Newcastle, who we are 10 points behind, and we still have Newcastle to play at St James's Park. So that game at St James's Park is going to be enormous. We've still got United to play again. City and Arsenal too far ahead. We can't think of them, but they're gone. So, yeah, it is on. It's possible.
Outside of seeing Arsenal, there isn't a team that's going to win every game. There isn't a team that's going to go on a mad winning streak. That means that we have no chance. These teams are going to suffer dip. So Newcastle, people are raving on about them. They're suffering a dip also. They've got 12 clean sheets in the last 15 games, but they have about 10 nil-nils. Honestly, that's the truth. They're struggling to score goals. They have their flaws also, and they're going for a little bit. Also, they're dropping so many points as well. United will go through their dip eventually also, and Chelsea and Spurs aren't performing well either. So there is a window for us. We just have to be able to lay our marker down, and we can do that.
100%. I agree with what you're saying, and we just need to start, like I say, get that first win, and then hopefully that will turn into 2, 3, 4. It's like last season. Once we got into our stride, we were all those points behind, and yeah, I know we've got injuries and all of that. Yeah, exactly. But we can do it. It's just a question of if we will. Just for talking about last season, to be fair, like, with how this season's gone, and last season I was like debating with people all last season and all summer, and even up to now, as to whether last season was failure or not. And I just can't see how people can say that last season was a failure, because I kept trying to tell people, but no one listened. I said, you don't know how long seasons like this are going to happen. It isn't normal for a team to do what we did last season. So instead of wasting all your energy on Twitter saying how much of a failure it is, just try and live in the moment. And there are issues with the squad. I knew there was issues with the squad last season, but we were winning games. We were in a good situation. We were doing well in the knockout tournaments. We were catching City in the league. But people were so obsessed with saying, if this doesn't happen, it's a failure. And then obviously when we lost out on the 2 big trophies, disappointing. But these guys were saying, oh, failure. And I was just like, be happy, be thankful, because this is the alternative. This is how bad it could get. And I'm not saying I saw this coming. I definitely didn't. I thought it was going to be good again this season. But this just made me happy seeing how bad we are this season, that I appreciated what we did last season, that I knew that last season wasn't normal. And yes, it was disappointment that we lost out on the 2 big trophies, but that can happen. No team goes and wins the 2 big trophies every year, time after time after time. It doesn't happen. So it's kind of put things in perspective for me a bit. Like the people that were saying last season's a failure, I want to know what they're thinking now, because this is the alternative.
One of the things people forget, and they can get lost in the sense of perhaps their little tour heads, or they can get a sense of trying to get one over somebody, is that we kept the sign of a very good team, the sign of a very good team, a world class team, is that they keep arriving in the final moments, they keep arriving in the final situations. That the very fact we got to a Champions League final, the very fact we took a title to a last season is indicative and demonstration of the quality of the squad. Yes, 1 goal and 1 point meant that we lost out on 2 trophies, but for a squad to arrive there consistently, 18, 19, 19, 20 last season, also 3 Champions League final, 3 title races, to keep arriving there, to keep arriving in these situations, that is a sign of a quality of a squad. And yes, perhaps us not getting over the line means that we didn't create a dynasty, we didn't create an era. Yes, perhaps fine, that can be a valid point, but it's not a point. Saying we didn't get that extra point, extra goal, doesn't mean that somehow the quality of our squad is. Doesn't mean our team is suddenly now not good enough. Our team suddenly last season was bad, etc. It just means that we weren't able to perhaps get over that final line, which means that we could create that dynasty, or whatever. But it's not. It doesn't mean we didn't have a good squad. It doesn't mean we were a good team. It doesn't mean that somehow we're gonna look back on the last few years and be disappointed. We kept arriving there. Our club kept arriving in these final moments. The reason why we're struggling now is because we didn't strengthen while we were on top. 20 after we won the Champions League, who did we sign? Can we name anybody really? I think it was the Sepp van der Berg we signed.
Harvey Elliott, Adrian.
Yeah, exactly. These players that Harvey Elliott was one for the future, Adrian was a backup keeper, and Sepp van der Berg was one for the future. Also, and he's somewhere in Preston North End right now, I think, injured. And then
Schalke, I think, this season.
Oh, Schalke, yeah. The summer after. The summer after who?
Preston,
yeah, the summer after who did we sign? I can't remember anybody that's in our team right now that we signed other than
was that the Thiago summer?
No, that was the season after the 2020 season.
So we won the Champions League and signed those 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then we did. So that's 2019. Wait, so what summer is that then?
2019 we signed Sepp van der Berg after we won the Champions League. The summer.
Yeah, the summer after 2020 to 20. No, it's 2018, 2019. At the end of that season, we signed Sepp, Harvey, Adrian. Then 1920, we didn't sign anyone. And then 2021 we signed Thiago.
We signed Thiago, and that was it. We kept the exact same squad. And then the season after this season, who do we sign that Tangier League says we signed? We had Luis Diaz already, and that's it. We still had the same defense, the same first choice midfield, and the same attack bar Diaz, who eventually got injured. So. Whereas you look at City, they have 9 players. They have 9 players who are new players that didn't win the league that season where we won the Champions League. 9 completely different players, and 9 players that also have left the club. It's not like they're rotting away on the bench like Arsene Wenger senior players, like Henderson, who can't even get on the team, or Fabinho, who can't even get in the team over an 18-year-old. These are players who have left the club, exited the club for better things. Whereas with us, we have players rotting away in our team. That's what happens. That's what happens when you don't refresh, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think we've done well there to cover a lot of stuff in an hour. So we are going to leave it there, guys. But listen, we're going to be here after every game now. Obviously, like I say, it was just a bit tricky last night because a couple of us were at the game. So, yeah, but we are going to be back. We're going to be on it. We've got the giveaway as well. So make sure you check out Twitter. I think the results are going to be on the 1st. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. Keep subscribing to the channel because we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers as quickly as we can. I think we're on 740 or something right now. So we massively appreciate your support. It means a lot to us because we're still relatively new to this YouTube thing. So we're still trying to grow the channel, kind of keep improving it, getting more people on, etc., etc. But big thank you to Mo and Shigz. Obviously, he's gone now. But yeah, thanks a lot, boys. And guys, if you're watching, we'll see you next time. Take care. And bye for now.